So my work always dealt with my background in one way or another. So coming back to Vietnam and doing my first show, my first solo show in Vietnam, is amazing because I feel like my work, even abroad, has dealt so much with Vietnam. But I feel in a strange way displaced from both locations because I'm maybe a result of something in between these two countries and places. Emotion, refuge, it was an intention to see both words separate, but also together. Emotional refuge, if you want to call it like that, is more universal to maybe, everyone, rather than a specific crisis that happened. The sculpture is about this one fabric that I researched, which is actually a fabric from Indonesia. The plate was adapted by actually a Chinese entrepreneur to make these migrant bags. It's the cheapest and most durable bag that you can get. So in Germany we call them Türkenkoffer, or in the UK we call them Bangladeshi bags. And in Nigeria they are called Ghana must go bags because Nigeria expelled Ghanaians when they were in an economic crisis. So that bag to me became a symbol of the migration movement that happened, all over the world. And the design is actually appropriated from Celine because Celine was using that bag. So I was interested in these various perceptions, these different perspectives, because when you walk around the sculpture you never have a complete view of the figure because the mirrors and the angles change and shift every time you look at it. We constantly reveal ourselves but also hide away from maybe showing things we're embarrassed about or our backgrounds. Coral Sea as Rolling Thunder. It's actually the beginning of my video work, and Coral Sea and Rolling Thunder are both operations, US operations, that was part of the Vietnam War operations. There's a strange poetry to the way these operations were named, but at the same time they're extremely violent. And Memory Dispute specifically deals with that, that violence between the Agent Orange attacks during the Vietnam War and how we can maybe see that shifting economy of the use of toxins today. I shot a skin whitening treatment in Saigon, and that skin whitening process functions in a way that you put acid onto your body and you let it rest for 8 hours, and after that you can basically peel off the entire first layer of your skin because you have a brighter skin color below that. And I was interested in, this very desperate connection between the way maybe we have treated the landscape. I was shooting my footage for Memory Dispute in Bac Ma, an area that was attacked by napalm. There was something haunting about Bac Ma. It's a tourist destination somehow, but it's rarely visited. It's very rare that people actually go and visit because there's not much to see on Bac Ma, but at the same time, Bac Ma is so close to the sea. It only takes an hour to go to the coastline, and you see the coast actually when you stand on top of the mountain. So there was instantly a link between the forest and the sea. And when the Formosa scandal occurred, it felt apparent to talk about it because it was again a different way. Chemicals were, exposed to Vietnam's landscape. It really started with memory dispute that I used metal because I was interested in building structures, like how we build, modern parts of society. Structure is made out of aluminium and it is welded together to hold up the projection. Aluminium is very different from welding, for example, steel, because with aluminium you melt down the aluminium and you feed more aluminium in, so you destroy and build at the same time. Aluminium became like a way of rapid building, like a quick way and a light way of building things that are almost temporal. They are sort of not supposed to stay or last. They're not supposed to last that long. And I think that's something that happens a lot in Vietnam, like that, things are sort of useful for the present, but there's not a long-term, thinking of how to sustain, maybe. The fish photographs were actually, they were shot analog in a pond in Hai Duong and manipulated it in the darkroom, because we also use chemicals in the darkroom process. The Formosa scandal that happened in 2016 is exactly when I was up the mountain in Bac Ma, and so the fishermen just in front of Bac Ma's, in Lang Co and north of Lang Co, were affected by the toxic spill. So the LED shows the shipping forecast of the South China Sea of that day for fishermen to know whether they can go out to the sea, or for anyone who's in the sea to know the weather. I felt like almost like the fish adapted to this very polluted water. I met the monk because he lives up the mountain, and so I was shooting the monk at the end of the video for a long time, just meditating, and there's almost no sound at the end of it, and I thought that was like an important end to the video because I wanted it to be like a space between resting and thinking. These moments when you can't quite tell whether he's really engaged with the world or very removed from the world.